Hi there. Welcome to the Sober Circle channel. Enjoy this speaker tape.
Thanks very much. Good evening, everyone. And my name's Maury W., and I'm a grateful alcoholic. Hi, y'all, and a gracious good evening to you all. I was going to, I've done about 10 pictures already, and as I was sitting here, I had broken it down to 3. And finally, I got down to the one I was going to use, and would you believe I forgot which one it was? But I was going to say, too, that I didn't have to, after Bill read the policy on anonymity here, I wasn't going to have to worry about y'all knowing that my name was Maury Wills and I was a baseball player. But Tom's already let you know that. Which is all right with me. But I used to have a problem with that. See, because I didn't want anybody to know or think that I might have a problem. And it turned out that everybody in the neighborhood knew it. I want to thank, before I go any further, I want to thank some nice people here. I played golf today in your golf tournament, the roundup tournament. And there's Bill N. was my partner. Didn't play that well. There was Rod W. Did even less. And also my friend Pete P. His name actually is Carl P. But his friends call him Pete. And I want to thank all of you for just a wonderful day. It reminded me of the time when I knew that I just couldn't drink anymore, and yet I couldn't even want to conceive of the idea of going through life without another drink. And I was wondering, if I didn't drink, would there be a sufficient substitute? And the big book covered that. It said, yes. It says, there's a fellowship of men and women, even in your own neighborhood, from all walks of life, with whom you can develop a relationship for life. And I met those people today here at the golf course, and I'm talking about you. I'm just so grateful, and I feel so proud to be one of you, a member of Alcoholics Anonymous in good standings. And I wonder why it took me so long. It took me so long to realize this, because I beat myself up pretty bad. But then again, I heard that it takes what it takes. And I put that it takes what it takes through the test. Because a nice guy like me, alcohol had taken me in the neighborhoods where people had guns. I'm the fellow that 95,000 people at the Coliseum in Los Angeles would cheer, go, go, go. Another 10 to 15,000 might be in the parking lot waiting for my autograph. Parents wanting their little boys to emulate me. And I'm hanging out in neighborhoods with people with guns because I wanted to drink. Going down the freeways in Los Angeles, 4 o'clock in the morning, hitting the center divider. Fortunately for me, it threw me back into one of the lanes. And also, fortunately, it's 4 in the morning and not too many cars around. Just to get another drink. Policemen used to enable me, pulling me over and apologizing and asking for an autograph. And I thought I was big time. This is it. How can I have a problem? And then one day, a highway patrolman pulled me over, and they put handcuffs on me like I'd never had handcuffs put on me before. And I told him it was a little tight, and he cinched it a little higher and tighter. Threw me in the back seat. And I thought that the world was coming to an end. It's over. Little did I know it was just the beginning, because it was a blessing in disguise. I think that's finally when I began to wonder, maybe I do have a problem. The Dodgers wanted to help me, but, you know, I wasn't quite sure this is what I wanted to do. They had two fellows there that worked for them in their drug prevention and treatment program. More treatment than prevention. Little that is known. And one's name is Don Newcomb. I call him Don Newcomb because he calls himself Don Newcomb. And one's name is Lou Johnson. I call him Lou Johnson because he calls himself Lou Johnson. And those guys chased me all over town. They were worse than the hideous four horsemen. Believe me. Terror, bewilderment, frustration, and despair. And I remember so many times when they caught up to me, I would let them know, I ain't got no problem and I ain't got no attitude. Just leave me alone. I had an attitude then and I have an attitude now. Today I have an attitude of gratitude. I'm just so grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be one of you. You look so comfortable there. I like that. I'm up here with this tie on, suit. But my sponsor told me, when you go up there, wear a suit. That's how he talks to me. He said, and put a tie on. And make sure you got a shirt with a collar. My sponsor talks to me. My sponsor is 78 years old, and November 13th this year. See, he's on the 13th, and I'm on the 13th. He made it that way. He's got about a dozen proteges, and they're all on the 13th. They got their own respective months, but it's 13th. He can easily remember it that way. He's 79. He'll be 25 years, one day at a time, on the 13th of November. And my sponsor talks to me like no man has ever talked to me before. And it was just what I needed. But I'll always remember when, he found me in a motel down in Los Angeles. It's on Sepulveda Boulevard, and it's in Manhattan Beach. It's called the Seahorse Inn. Some people are going, yeah. And I was locked up there doing my thing. Now, my home group is right down at the Hermosa, South Bailano Club in the Hermosa Club. And two great friends of mine from my home group are here tonight. And they came up to see me. They surprised me. I'm going to get even with them, too. Why don't you stand up? Don and Paula, please. Yes, it's all right. They drove all the way up to see me. Yes. Isn't that wonderful? A fellowship of men and women right in my own neighborhood from all walks of life, whom I will develop lifetime friendships with. Where I came from, nobody liked anybody, didn't trust anybody. So, where was I? The Seahorse Inn. And I'm locked up in that Seahorse Inn, and various friends of mine from my home group down at the South Bailano Club in Hermosa got the word, and up there, knocking on the door, and I tippy-toe over to the little peephole, and I tiptoe back to the bar corner and just keep quiet. This went on, and I'm just hoping, why don't they just leave me alone? Then one day, this over a period of 2, 3, 4 days. And all of a sudden I looked through the hole there in the door when someone knocked, and there's a man out there with a patch over his eye, and I didn't recognize him. I opened the door. Who are you? Today, that's my sponsor. Frank C. And even today, Frank asked me, Maury, why did you open the door for me? I don't know. We all know that it was God that opened that door. Definitely. God was taking care of me when I was going down that freeway, and I hit that divider and came back in when I was around those people with guns. Going down Long Beach Boulevard, Maury Wills. They called me the darling of the Dodgers. Vince Scully used to say, little Maury Wills. And I'm driving down Long Beach Boulevard, son of a Baptist minister, 8 sisters and 4 brothers. Went to church 7 days a week. Used to go up in the pulpit and go to sleep until my dad left church, because he'd always stop and get donuts on the way home. But here I am driving down Long Beach Boulevard, 35, 40 miles an hour, head on, just ripped off the side view mirror of a car. And mine, when I didn't know what, just looked around, no sleep, 3, 4, 5 days, drunk, drugs. What was my problem? By this time, Don Newcomb and Lou Johnson catches up to me again. I ain't got no problem, and I ain't got no attitude. Just leave me alone. Finally, the Dodgers said, you know, if you just clean up for 30 days, we'll let you come back and work for us. You will? I went about 3 days. Then all of a sudden, that phenomenon of craving set in. And I'm off to the races again, full flight. Can't understand it. I do it today, because it's right at the end of the portion of chapter 5 that we read. I'm alcoholic, my life's unmanageable. Not probably for me, but definitely no human power is going to relieve me of my alcoholism. But God could and would if sought. Not bought, not caught. Sought. But I didn't notice at the time. So finally, Fred Clare, the man now that signs all those contracts for those $3, $4, $5 million ball players, I would say those guys that are masquerading as ball players, but I'm going to be nice. Oh, no. Well, that's okay. I can say that here, because I'm sure no word gets in and out of Paso Robles, huh? So, finally the Dodgers got me to okay him sending me to a treatment center. So Fred Clare himself and Don Newcomb are coming by to pick me up. They said, we'll be by tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Oh, all right. So at 4 o'clock they pulled up right in front of my door, and I pulled back the blanket as I'm peeping through the blind from behind the blanket. Some of you can relate to that. And they're there. Oh, shucks. So I went on and did my thing for about another half hour. And then I walked out the door. Oh, why didn't you tell me you were here? Another one of those lies. So they came in, and I'll always remember they never rushed me. They just sat there in my living room patiently, and I went upstairs for another half hour. Still not convinced. Doing my thing. Finally came down, let's go. So I'm sitting in the back seat. Fred's driving, Don Newcomb's riding on the passenger side. About halfway there, I get to sniveling and sweating. And I said, you know, I don't know if I like this. Somebody might find out and think I got a problem. Can I change my name? Anything you want to do, just go along with this. I said, okay, so. I said, what should I call myself? Whatever you want. So the big book says that we alcoholics have magic magnifying minds. I came up. I'm going to honor these two nice men, so nice to come and do this for me. I'm going to call myself Donald Clare. Don for Don Newcomb, Clare for Fred. Donald Clare. And the lady says, yes, the name. She's checking me, and I said, Donald Clare? Yeah, sure. I'm there for about 2 weeks, not applying myself, just going through the motions. They wanted to put me out a couple of times, the counselors. But finally, and there was a counselor that would come in every Wednesday, and we were in a circle, and I wasn't participating, and he realized that, and he noticed it. So then he decided that we'd have a tag. We'd just go right around the room. We'd start here, and we'd go clockwise, and I was number 3. So he had me. So now it's my turn to put my hand up and to share. And I started sweating. I said, well, first of all, I have a confession to make. My name is not Donald Clare. And everybody said, no shit, Maury. I said, you knew already? He said, sure. Ain't no big deal. No big. I said, you don't mind? No, man, come on, let's get with it. That was nice. I was always that way. I'm always, even today, I have a tendency at times until I catch myself, making a big deal out of everything. Always want to make a big deal. There are no big deals in AA. I heard that when I got here, and I didn't like that expression right away because I know they came up with it just for me. Doesn't have anything to do with me. Nothing to do with me. I left there before the 28 days. I'm gone again, around the clock. 4 or 5 months, doing my thing. The commissioner of baseball said, Maury, if you just, the late Bart Giamatti, commissioner, said, if you just clean up for 6 months, we'll put you into the Hall of Fame. I said, you will? I went about a week this time. All of a sudden, the phenomenon of craving set in. And I'm gone again. You see, I was trying to get sober for all the wrong reasons. It wasn't until it was me that I had to get sober for. Get my life together for me, and before it would work. So I knew just what I needed to do. I needed to get out of the area and go down to Orange County. So I went down to Laguna Beach, 50 miles away, where the people are nicer. And there will be no distraction. And the Dodgers even were nice enough to pack up my stuff and take it down for me. I think they just wanted to get me out of town. And I had this brand new little apartment down there. And in no time at all. See, what I didn't know at the time, that my disease is portable. I took it with me. Because my little apartment was thrashed in no time at all. But before that, I did manage to get 57 days. 57 days, because I was going to meetings down there, and I got me a brand new suit and a brand new car, and I drove back up to my club in Hermosa Beach, the South Bailano Club, and where all my old friends were, and I wanted to show them my newfound life, freedom. So I reared back and crossed my legs and put my hand up to share. And now the leader had just said, if we could keep our sharing 3 to 5 minutes, so as many as possible could share. And I did 12 minutes. 12 minutes, totally prepared for the speech. And just knew I was tough stuff, hip, slick, and cool. I left there, and a couple of hours later, I saw a young lady that I always wanted to get to know better when we were out there, but she always was in a relationship. And I caught her in between relationships. And my 57 days were in trouble. Little did I know I was just 57 days dry. Just dry as a bone. And I stayed up in Los Angeles there and just did everything I wasn't supposed to do, including drinking, and went back to Laguna Beach to my meeting down there and took me a 60-day chip. Whew. I tried every half measure there is. And I lived that life for about a week. And that life just tore me up so that I bolted again one more time from the program. And I was gone another 6 months. I don't know how I got back here. I was just reading about Mickey the other day. And I asked myself, why me? Why Mickey? Why not me? I don't know how I got here. I know now. I'm sure God was taking care of me long before I got here, doing things for me that I could not do for myself. But I didn't know what was going on. So this time I was lying on the couch in that little apartment that was trashed. No lights, no water, no gas, no money. Old, drawn, could hardly move. Car's been gone. Rent's paid, but there's an eviction notice on the door. They just didn't want me there anymore. Same guy. 95,000 people cheering for her. Folks wanting their little boys to emulate me. And alcohol has got me in its grips. It was my master. So I was lying there on that couch, and I'll never forget it. They said, we don't want to forget our last drunk. Not that I lived day by day with it right out there in front of me, but I don't want to ever forget where I came from, what it was like. And I laid on that couch, and I remember. It was the first time I said, God, I surrender. I said, I don't know how, and I don't know what it's all about. I heard about it. I said, but I'm willing. I can't go on this way. Help me. And I slumped. And I must have laid there 3-4 days when there was a knock on the door. And it was a friend from the Hermosa Club. Just said, I've been looking for you for 3-4 days. Somehow I thought maybe you might need a friend. And looked past me and said, look at this place. I said, why don't you come on back up? So I said, let's go. And I got in the car, drove back up to Hermosa Beach, laid on the couch about another 3 days. And I got up in the morning at 6:45. The meeting started, and I was there on time at the South Bay Alano Club, and I walked in that club on August 13th, 1989. And just like that, I have not had to, and I haven't had a drink, nor a drug, nor any mind-altering substance since. Thank you. All I did was say, God, I surrender. The ground didn't shake. I didn't see any lightning bolts go across the sky. It wasn't until about 10 days later, though, when I was walking through the front door of the Alano Club, going in there for that 6:45 early morning attitude adjustment meeting, when all of a sudden I stopped and it dawned on me, it's been about 10 days and I haven't wanted a drink, haven't missed a drink, nor a drug. And for the first time in my life that I can remember, I knew right then and there that I didn't ever have to have a drink again for the rest of my life if I didn't want to. And as my friend told me today, even if I wanted to, I didn't have to have a drink. What a freedom. Wow. I just knew it for the first time. And I can remember that I did not have any reason to get up, any reason to go to bed. I just couldn't say no. It was a time when I was thinking about it, and I was so glad that I wasn't born a girl, because I couldn't say no. Gosh. But right then and there, I knew that's when I had to go to work. Work was just starting. So what did I do? I called Frank. And Frank greeted me with open arms. You know, as the big book says, you know, if the sponsor finds the sponsee not wanting it, let him go, or let her go. Because you might be squandering the hours that you can be helping someone else who does want it. Frank didn't do that for me, though, or to me, or by me. Frank always came after me. He called. Even when I was in Laguna Beach, he called. Maury, on my machine. Just answer, Maury. It's all right. It's okay. Just want to say hi. But I couldn't. But Frank greeted me with open arms, and he said, okay, let's go to work. We'll get down to basics, causes and conditions. So he'd already caught me. He knew me about like a book about this time. Because before I made that geographic, when I left that Seahorse Inn, Frank declared himself my sponsor. So after about 3 days when he was giving me these, what he called directives, sounded like orders to me, directives, I disappeared on him for about 3 days. And finally he called up to me, and the first thing he said, where you been, Maury? I said, I had this great lie for him. I told Frank, I've been up in Oxnard. That's north of Los Angeles, a little town about 70 miles. I said, I've been to Oxnard doing a movie. That sounds feasible. Maury Wills could be doing a movie. And word will never get out of Oxnard, same as here. So Frank said, let me tell you something, boy. Now, I know I didn't like him right then when he called me boy. I know the lie you're going to tell even before you open your mouth. He said, when you walk through the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous, he said, you came in contact with the biggest liars, cheats, thieves. Now, cut, he said, where you been? I said, I know I don't like this guy. But here I am. I called him and said, Frank, let's do it. He said, okay, causes and conditions. He said, I want you to call me every morning at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock? Well, see, I go to 6:45. Meeting's over at 7:45. That's an hour and 15 minutes. I can do that. So, okay, after the meeting, I would go with some of the guys, and I'd sit around and have coffee with them. And we having coffee, and I'm just jiving and talking trash and everything, and talking to the waitress, and hitting on the waitress. Look at the clock. It's 8:30. I still got a half hour, and messing around, and look at the clock. Got 15 minutes, and talking to the waitress, ordering some more coffee, and even hitting on it a little bit more. And before I know it, it's 5 minutes after 9. I run over to the phone, and I called and said, Frank, Maury here. He said, yeah, I know. What time did I tell you to call me, Maury? I said, 9 o'clock. He said, it's 5 after 9. Wham! And slammed the phone down. I knew this guy's crazy, but damn. So I called the next morning. I did my meeting, 6:45. It's over 7:45. I got an hour and 15 minutes. So I'll go with the guys and have them coffee again. And I'm talking to the waitress and everything, and I'm ordering everything, and then messing around with the waitress and all that stuff. And look at the clock, it's 10 minutes to 9. I got time, and before you know it, oh, my goodness, it's 3 minutes after 9. I run over there, and Frank, Maury here. He said, Maury, what time is it? Frank, I know. He said, I told you to call me at 9, and he slammed the phone down. Next day, I go over there at 9. The meeting's over at 7:45, and I'm with the guys. It's quarter to 8. I look at the clock. It's 8:30, and well, you know, it's quarter to 9, and hey, 10 minutes to 9. I said, you know what? I ain't taking no chances this time. I'm gonna call him. He probably like this anyhow. I'm gonna call him early. So I go, Frank, Maury here. He said, what time is it, Maury? I said, 10 minutes to 9, Frank. He said, I told you to call me at 9, and slammed the phone down. Little did I know. What Frank was trying to get over to me is how to be responsible. You say you're going to do something, you got to do it. And now I want to get a job eventually, and I can't even call my sponsor at 9 o'clock when I'm sitting there at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to get a job. So Frank took me 3 weeks. Simple little thing like that. It took me 3 weeks before I could call him on time at 9 o'clock. And once I did, it was easy after that. But then I got all grandiose, like they said we can get. And I'd call him in the afternoon and say, hey, Frank, I'll call you when I get home tonight. So the next day I called Frank at 9 o'clock right on the nose. He said, where you been, Maury? I said, what do you mean? I've been to my meeting and everything. He said, I'm still sitting here waiting for you to call me last night. I said, oh, Frank, I'm sorry. I called you in the morning, and I talked to you during the day, and I just forgot. He said, Maury, don't give me these useless promises or these unnecessary commitments. Useless promises and unnecessary commitments. And I learned that. I don't do that today. Because I know when Pete asks me if I would consider coming here to be the speaker, and it's not like I had to be here and I have to speak, but it's I get to come here and I get to speak. That's where it is with me today. I didn't even hesitate, and I was going to be here because I said I would. And I was going to be here when I was supposed to be here, and I'd be here tonight, and I'd have this suit on, and I'd have this tie on, like Frank suggested that I did. Frank's a great sponsor. I call him every day. I just turned 6, one day at a time. Last Sunday, August 13th. I never dreamed, 2 things I'm thinking of right now, never dreamed that I would ever get 6 years, day at a time, without having to have a drink, or without having a drink. I never dreamed it. Didn't come here for that. I didn't feel that I'd stay this long. I just thought if I could rest a little bit, be able to put the glass down in the bottle once in a while. But something happens to you when you get around here. It's happened to me. The other thing is I never dreamed that I would be here being a speaker at an AA convention. It's talking about a spiritual experience. So all of a sudden I'm doing fine, and guess what happened? The Dodgers called me. Maury, we'd like for you to go to spring training and train some of our young players. I said, you would? He said, yeah. And I'm on the Dodger plane. And I go down to spring training now, and I train the young players. I train the guys. Raul Mondesi, you might have heard of him. Piazza, I told him just hit home runs, so don't worry about running the bases. And they tell me that pretty soon I'm going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in the baseball. Isn't that nice? Thank you. You know, I used to say all the time, you know, if they just take me to spring training, just give me a job with them, I'd be all right. Never dawned on me that if I got all right, then I'd get the job. What a program, huh? What a concept. Alcoholics Anonymous. So we got 2 rooms down there in Hermosa Beach in the club. We got a front room, which is a big room, and we got it's kind of wild in there. The message is good, but it's a little wild, and it's kind of a little social, and I liked it there. As it says, the program of attraction, they had a lot of cute young ladies in there. You know, it wasn't that long, though, that I forgot about those cute young ladies, and all of a sudden I started getting involved in the program and liking it. I don't know how this, I didn't do this. I'm sure God did it for me. So, but in the back room, we got 2 rooms. It's a smaller room. And we got more sobriety back there. And I found that I was kind of getting stagnant in the front room. It's so large I wasn't getting to share, and besides I found myself hiding a little bit. And I know in the big book says that we need to continue to put one foot in front of the other, or otherwise we will get into what the book refers to as a retrogressive mode. And for an alcoholic to get into a retrogressive mode is to die. And I didn't want to do that. So I kept my eye on that back room. And that's where Don and Paula are. Here in double digits. I said, whoa. So I went to the back room. I go up there in the front room and take my cake. That's the room I got sober in. And I go in there once in a while and see my buddies take the cake, and lady friends as well as guy friends. I can have lady friends today without being self-seeking. We hug a lot. I'm sure you do here too. I learned to hug in AA. I learned to hug without and a good hug, not the hug that I used to get when I got there. And it's changed my whole life. See, what the doctor Stephen sent me to some renowned therapists. One man's name is Dr. Joseph Persh, and he's Betty Ford's personal psychiatrist, Dr. Joseph Persh. And then they had a doctor who's in charge of the NFL drug program. He's in West Covina, California. And they sent me to him. Each one of them had me for about 3 weeks, and they said, I can't do nothing for the boy. And then some other one-on-one therapists. And what the people didn't realize, and the Dodgers didn't realize, and I didn't either, that I had crossed that line. I was a full-blown alcoholic. I had gone into a progressive, chronic stage. I needed a psychic change. Psychic change. Yes, spiritual experience. And that's what's happened to me. I find myself doing things today against my thinking, but I just automatically do it. I don't think that way, but I'm just doing it. And I've learned to do things I don't like to do. I'm just so grateful to be an alcoholic. There was a man in that room when I first got in that. I can't say when I first got in there. I'd like to be able to say when I first came to Alcoholics Anonymous, but I can't because I was in and out so much. I don't know when I first got here. But during that period, there was a man in that room, in the front room. They used to say, I'm grateful to my God in AA to be here. I'm grateful to my God in AA to be anywhere. And I used to say, yeah. And this man, it turned out, I found out he had 21 years, one day at a time. And I was such a smart aleck. I went up and say, yeah. And there was a lady that used to say all the time, I ain't going to have a drink today no matter what. Not even if my ass falls off. If it does, I'm going to put it in a paper bag and bring it to a meeting. And I was still in pain and still confused at the time. And then there was another man who would say, all of us here, and this is proof that there's a divine power in the universe doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. How sweet it is. And I would say, yeah. And this man had 30 years, I found out, one day at a time. I don't do that anymore. I even myself today, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be anywhere. I ain't going to have a drink today no matter what. Not even my ass falls off. If it does, I'm going to find a meeting here somewhere in town and take it. How sweet it is. I love you all, and God bless you. And when I come down off the stage, don't stand back and stare. Come on over and say, hi, Maury, and ask for an autograph. And give me a couple of dollars. Thank you.